All right, welcome to another episode of Talk Murder Me. This is going to be a short one. It's not a murder, it's an attempted murder.
Really?
And thank God it wasn't a murder, because this is also underage kids.
Oh, what
underage
is it?
kids and these motherfucking creepypastas.
Well, it's because I don't know if they're trying to get entertainment from it because they have nothing better to do. This is what, in the age of YouTube, when it was first getting popular.
You said something the other day that said that they are realistic looking. Like that Momo. Have you seen Momo?
Yes, Momo's creepy. Don't mess with Momo.
Let me put up Momo.
Is Momo the one from the pig?
No, that's Peppa Pig.
I'm putting up Momo right now. Momo money. I should register that.
Momo is the one that was like telling kids to like bake their parents in the oven.
In Peppa Pig, though, right? No.
No, I don't.
What am I doing?
I don't think it was related to Peppa Pig. I don't remember.
There was something in Peppa Pig.
I think it was like
What the fuck?
they
What
were
are you talking about?
watching
Peppa Pig?
and then there was the Momo video at the bottom of the Peppa Pig
in Peppa
This
Pig.
is Momo. That looks nothing like Peppa Pig.
I'm pretty sure Momo was embedded in a Peppa Pig video, or there was something
All
like
right,
that.
let me look up Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig, my homie.
And then type it with Momo.
What do you think I'm doing? Peppa Pig, Momo, Peppa Pig.
Oh my God, what the fuck?
I love it. Oh, that is great. Jen, that's your new background. Oh my God, look at Peppa Pig and his severed head. Oh my God.
My favorite Peppa Pig is the whistling video.
I love Peppa Pig. Momo's not real, but Slender Man, if that motherfucker tells you to do something, you have to do it.
Why?
What's the difference between Slender Man
Because
and Momo,
if you
other
don't,
than you saying that
he's
one
gonna
is real
kill
and one
you.
is not? How do we know that Slender Man is real and Momo is not
I'm
real?
talking to the high schoolers out there. Slender Man is real.
Do what he says.
And then when I have a crisis at school because someone listened to you say that, I'm going to come back and tell you that Slender Man told me to do something to you, that I have to do it.
What? Cut my slender penis off.
I didn't know. I don't know. He hasn't told me yet.
Cut off his slender penis and feed it to my slender mouth.
Take the covers.
So tonight we're going to May 31st, 2014. This is a year before the Laughing Jack. Which one's creepier, Slender Man or Laughing Jack?
We haven't gotten to Slender Man yet, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, this is Slender Man right here. Slender Man. He's kind of hot.
He doesn't have a face.
Look, this is a real image of him in the background.
How do we know that's real and not doctored?
Because it's real, Jen. I found this on the internet. It's fucking real. Slender Man is real. If this guy approaches you, just do what he says, you know?
How come he has like tentacles in that picture but not in this picture?
I don't know, Jen. Maybe he should visit you tonight.
I would appreciate not getting a visit from him tonight.
All right, tonight we're going to talk about the origins of Slender Man. I decided to go a slightly different direction with this. Yeah, we are going to talk about the attempted murder, and I'm giving you all the details there are, like always. But I also want to explore, you know, where's these things coming from?
Yeah, where are these coming from?
You have like Stephen King, H.P. Lovecraft, all these guys that write amazing stuff, but kids nowadays want to read these little short stories about deformed, tall men. I don't get it. You want a scary shit? Read some Poe, man. That shit is scary.
Quoth the Raven.
Yeah.
He
I'm
was
just
from-
saying that one was
He was
scary.
from Charleston, wasn't he?
He was
stationed
born
here.
in Boston, lived in Baltimore, and was stationed in Charleston.
Got it. I knew that he was connected to like
All
Boston
three cities
and-
that I have
Boston
lived in.
Boston is where H.P. Lovecraft was born too.
Well, all the greats.
I mean, yeah, that's where you got all the greats. I mean, it's just be true. Poe came from there. Well, I would say Stephen King, but he's in Maine.
New England.
New England, yeah. We'll take credit for
Stephen
that.
King's in Maine.
Yeah, it's New England.
New England, yeah.
Tonight we're going to May 3rd.
Part of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Commonwealth my
Actually.
pussy. Commonwealth my puss ass. Getting pussy fucked by Slender Man.
No, thank you.
That would hurt. It would go out your mouth. Ah!
Ew.
Ah! Oh God, it's going back in. Ah! Oh, it came out again. Oh. Oh God, it's going in gin. Blah! That was going in the cold. Blah! Wow, this dude has a very long penis.
It's proportional.
How tall is Slender Man? Oh, you're gonna get to that.
Fucking no, Jen. God damn it.
I thought you were gonna tell us.
Let me break this to you, Jen. It's not fucking real.
You just said it was, so I'm,
And then he was visiting Jen tonight in her sleep.
Yeah, so.
That's me dressed up in all black.
Oh my God, I hope you don't come in and try to assault me.
With the failed haircut attempt, he's now going to be
He's
Slender
also
Man.
going to be wrapped up in all the covers, too.
Yep.
I'm going to be walking on stilts. I'm going to fall through your window and break my neck.
And I'll have to try to explain that to someone.
Tonight we're going to May 31st, 2014, and Waukesha. And before I tell you what state, look at this photo. This is where the victim was found. Where does this look like? I mean, obviously it's impossible to tell. It's in Wisconsin. Waukesha, Wisconsin. This is near David Park, May 31st, 2014. And again, this is episode 272. I put all my photo sources and videos on talkmore.com. You definitely want to see Slenderman.
I thought this was 273.
Oh, 273. This is episode 273. I put all my sources, photos, videos on talkmurder.com. Episode 273. You definitely want to see Slenderman, or as I like to call him, Slendy.
Ew.
Slendy.
I don't like that.
I probably shouldn't have licked my lips when I said that. Oh, shit. All right. So you have 3 people involved in this. And yes, this is a teen story. Not even teen. No, they're all 12.
Preteen.
Preteen. And this is 2014. So this was a year before Laughing Jack. And Laughing Jack was in Indiana. I would imagine that girl had heard about this story.
Probably.
You know, because kids hear about anything these days, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that fucking tic-tac and wet-ass pussy and all that shit. And their drugs. Whippets. So, who's involved in the story tonight? The victim was 12 years old. Her name is Peyton Lutner. This is her right here. This is her. You can see her.
Oh, she's a kid, yeah.
Yeah, she's a kid. She's 12 years old. So going back to this photo, I'll put this on talkmore.com. She was actually found crawling out of the woods here. As I said, this was in the afternoon of May 31st, 2014. There's a park that you can't really see in this photo, but it's called David's Park. And it's right there. So this happened in the park, in the wooded area of the park, and this girl, 12-year-old girl, who is alive and has become completely changed by all this. She has some great interviews. She is a strong person, but she said in one of her interviews something to the effect of, "I knew I just didn't want to die." Mm-hmm. She was stabbed 19 times.
Oh, no.
19 times. 12 years old. Jen, stop playing with Hubs.
I didn't do nothing.
Hubs.
It okay, bub.
Peyton was 12 years old. 12. 19 times. She was stabbed more times than the year she was born. That's a lot.
Yeah.
To survive that. And her parents talk about it. I saw a lot of interview videos about it. And the parents, I mean, obviously, they're just the happiest parents in the world that she survived this, but they were just breaking down, man. Oh my God. She barely hung on to life. But the thing about her is, if you see her interviews, you could tell. And like I said, she said something to the effect of, "I just knew I didn't want to die."
Right.
I mean, that is, I don't know, man. I think that is, I think you do have some determination to live, and you know, call me whatever, mystic or whatever, but I think that comes into play. You know, I think
willingness is, yeah.
I mean, it probably ain't going to offer much, but it offered her enough to crawl out of these woods, and then a passerby, an old fellow on a bicycle, saw her. Luckily, he's an old man. The first thing he does, he knows what to do: cover the wounds, call 911 immediately, and here you see them transporting her 19 times. 19 times. Officer Dan Klein was the first to respond to this, and she was conscious the whole time. She was brutally stabbed and on the verge of death, but she could still talk. So he's like, who did this? Like, who did this? Like, what kind of monster is out there? Oh, it was my best friend, Morgan. Her 12-year-old friend, Morgan. There was another girl, too, that was also with her. I'll put these on talkmore.com, but this is the trio right here. You have Peyton. That's the victim. She's on the left there in the yellow sundress. You have Morgan Geyser. She's the one in the middle. And then you have Anissa Wire. I heard both Anissa and Anissa, but I think it's Anissa. Using a 13-centimeter blade. And that's what she told the police. She told Dan Klein, the blade was about yay long, and I'm holding up my fingers about 13 inches. Then he says he goes back and finds the weapon. That was just the blade, not the handle. That was just the blade of the knife. Wow. Which is about a foot long. That's a big-ass blade, man.
What, inches or centimeters?
Well, the whole thing was 13 inches, but she holds up her fingers, and it was, I don't know, 7-8 inches blade. The blade was 7-8 inches. It was a big knife.
Yeah.
She was stabbed on the evening of May 30th. Luckily, she survived this. They were all at a slumber party together, so they were all sleeping over. It was Morgan's birthday party. Mm-hmm. Both Morgan and Anissa had been planning this for several months. Months planning to kill her on this night. On the evening of May 30th, they tried to kill her multiple times, but for some reason, whatever, didn't. They decided to lure her into the woods via a game of hide and seek. And the police report that I'm pulling this from just says, the police report states that Anissa pushed her on the ground, sat on top of her, and let Morgan go and get ready with the knife, like thrust the knife back because she's about to start stabbing. Then the police report says Anissa got off and Morgan went, quote, ballistic, end quote, stabbing her, and stabbed her 18 times. Now, if you hear Peyton tell the story, and obviously she's the one that knows best, she tells the media that the girls told her to hide under some leaves and some sticks. She did that, and then that is when they started stabbing her.
Oh.
So whatever it is. But she actually was bleeding out after she was stabbed 19 times. They told her to sit quietly as they went to get help, but they didn't go get help. Morgan said, no, we're not getting help because, and I'll get to this, they had to kill her because if they didn't, they couldn't go and live in Slender Man's mansion. Guess he's got a fucking mansion. Crazy.
Oh, must be nice.
Well, he's got to be tall. He's got to be tall. Doors, at least. He's fucking 10 feet tall. Mm-hmm. It's got to be a big house. He ain't living in a studio fucking apartment, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You know. So that's basically how the stabbing happened. Now, if you listen to, there's plenty of videos of her getting interviewed, and she'll talk about it. But basically, yeah, that's it. They were at a birthday party sleepover, and they lured her into the woods, and as a game of hide and seek. As I'll talk about, Morgan and Anissa had been planning this for several months. A surgeon had told ABC News that, quote, if the stab wound to the chest had been the width of a human hair deeper, she would have not survived, end quote. And I'll put these photos on talkmore.com. This is the two girls. This is about 5 hours of them walking away, just like the last case we covered. Two girls walking 5 hours, literally exactly 5 hours before they quit. They walk completely out of town. They have hardly no food with them, no plan other than they're going to go meet Slender Man somewhere and live in his mansion. They sit on the side of an interstate and basically wait for the cops to come. That's it. That's how it happens. This is from the Post-Crescent, 22nd June 2016. This is about Morgan Geyser's mother. So when the police come to your house because your 12-year-old's in trouble, the last thing you're thinking of is she had stabbed someone 19 times. So you can tell the shock on the mother's face just by reading this.
The geysers headed to the station, assuming that whatever had happened, they would probably have to punish Morgan. Their thought was also to cancel their trip to Star Trek convention. That's how clueless we were, Angie Geyser said. Finally, an officer came to the lobby and told the parents they could not take Morgan home. She was being charged with attempted homicide. I sobbed. I ran into the bathroom and threw up. It didn't seem possible, Geyser said.
Now, looking at all the quotes from the family, and I can't say this with certainty, but it seems like all the family is normal. Looking at the interviews and everything else, there was no abuse going on like in the last story in the home, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, think about this. The Geysers, their initial thought was to cancel her trip to the Star Trek convention. Oh, what did she do? Did she get caught with some weed? Was she kissing a boy? Like, a girl? Like, what was she doing? Like, why am I getting called down here? Mm-hmm. Oh, your daughter is getting booked for attempted murder.
Yeah.
I mean, holy shit. I feel like they should have told them that before they got there, you know? Yeah. Holy shit, man. The end of the story, and I'll get to what happened to each girl and stuff like that, but she is alive. But the reason Morgan stabbed her to begin with was because of Slender Man. So I kind of went a little different route with this. I kind of wanted to see the origin of Slender Man. You know, is this a real thing? Like, is it a real guy? Where did he come from? Like, what do you think? Like, what do you think Slender Man comes from? Like, what is that?
I mean, there's got to be some sort of, like, legend that dates back a while, I would imagine. Because I feel like a lot of people have heard of Slender Man, but they've never
gone into
like I've heard of a thing called Slender Man, but I don't know where it comes from.
Right.
So I read a little bit of this book called The Slender Man Mysteries. It's by this conspiracy theorist. I never read any of his stuff before, but he's got some pretty out there things, but he's a pretty good researcher, and this one I thought was pretty unbiased. All he did in this book is called Slender Man Mysteries, is he just went and found out the origins of Slender Man, and he even interviewed the creator of Slender Man and stuff like that. So I thought it was kind of cool. So I'm going to share that with you. It's a little bit different take, but you're probably not going to get this information anywhere else, and there ain't no one else telling you the origins, because she is alive. So I mean, is this okay if I tell you the?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was intrigued myself. So this is a photo of Slender Man. This is one of the first photos that came out on the internet. So all of these creepypastas, the Laughing Jack, Slender Man. I think there's one called Well, no, not that one. The creepypastas with the names. I think there's like an Evil John or something. There's a bunch. You just go to creepypasta.com. There's a bunch of famous ones. They all have these names. The Laughing Jack, he rips out the organs and replaces them with candy. Slender Man is really tall. Anyway, they all start on this one website, and it's not creepypasta. The website, and I actually never heard this. This is probably how disconnected I am. It's called Something Awful. Is that a website? Apparently it's a big forum, and a lot of you guys have probably even heard of it. But Slender Man, this photo right here was uploaded to this website, Something Awful. Now, obviously, this is photoshopped. This is what you're looking at now. I'll put this on talkmore.com. It's an old-looking photo. I would say maybe 80s or something.
Wow,
I mean, it is in black and white.
60s, yeah.
60s, but look at the pants. He's got designer pants on.
Well, I mean, they look like the jeans. I mean, you look at the kids' outfits in the background.
Oh, yeah. So it is in black and white. I didn't know if it was intentional or not. But there's a black and white photo. This kid is walking up the stairs. He's smiling. This is supposed to be at a birthday party or something. It's obviously doctored. There's a real photo. Yes, this kid's looking, smiling. They're at a birthday party. There's a lot of kids. And this one little girl, it looks like she's walking over to a tall figure, about tall as almost like half the tallness of a power line pole, I would say. Mm-hmm. So you think of a power line pole, about a little over half, probably like 10 feet, 8 feet. What do you think? Mm-hmm. Is he bigger than what's that basketball player's name that's really tall?
Jack? Yao Ming?
Yao Ming, yeah. Is he bigger than him?
In this picture, it's hard to tell because, I don't know.
But anyway, just really tall photo. But this was actually placed there intentionally to win a competition on this website called Something Awful. This was placed there on June 2009. The creator of this, now this is the actual creator.
Slender Man doesn't appear until 2009.
June 2009. And this is how a lot of these creepypastas appear. So if your son or daughter is out, and I'm being serious, if they're all scared about whatever creepypasta, just know you can tell them that this was created on purpose by whoever. And for this one in particular, this guy's name was Eric Knudsen. He goes by the name Victor Surge. So the appearance of Slender Man, and this is from the book, pale face, no eyes, no eyes, no nose, no ears, or a mouth, spider legs, long and thin and spindly.
It's interesting because in that picture, the character that the child is approaching almost looks like a female.
Yeah, it does. But you can see the tentacles coming out the back of him, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Rubbery octopus-like tentacles protrude from his torso. It began June 2009. They do these yearly competitions. Let's see who can make the most fucked up looking monster go. Literally, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. This guy uploaded it. His name is Eric Knudsen. It was, when he was interviewed, he explained that it was a mixture between the Men in Black, not Will Smith, but there's an actual conspiracy about Men in Black, the UFO chasers. Not the movie. Men in Black, UFO lore, Mothman, H.P. Lovecraft, Stephen King, and more. The goal, Knudsen explained, was to create, quote, something whose motivations can barely be comprehended and causes general unease and terror in a general population, end quote. And he certainly did that. What happens is you upload it to Something Awful, and then if these people there, these kids, I guess nothing better to do, if they think it could go places, if it could scare kids or whatever, they start forming stories behind it. They take these photos, they doctor them, old photos. There's photos you'll see that's like in this photo right here. It says at the bottom, I didn't put the caption, but it says this photo was taken in 1984 or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they're making them as real as possible, and then they're spreading them on the internet. It's like a meme. You know how a meme spreads. Same shit, but these are the characters. The idea for the competition was to see who could use their Photoshop skills to create the best new mythological creature. Activity and praise for Surge's tall, faceless ghoul flourished around the post immediately. End quote. And that's from the actual website. In all of these cases, Laughing Jack and Slender Man, in both cases, once the creators find out that their monsters have caused a murder, they're usually extremely saddened because that was not their intention. Their intention is to... I mean, it's just like why Stephen King writes a scary book and wants to scare shit out of you, or himself or whatever. He's not trying to get people to actually take action. Mm-hmm. And neither of these creators. This is just what they do. You know what I'm saying? But this guy Nick Redfern in this book is kind of interesting. He actually asked the question. Okay, so it is created, and it's going to kind of go down a weird road. But yeah, Slender Man is created, but is it though, or is it what the Buddhists called a tulpa, T-U-L-P-A, which is a real thing that the Buddhist was scared of thousands of years ago. It's a tulpa means thought form, and basically when enough people believe something, it becomes reality. So think of that hello Clarice or whatever, like whatever that's called, the whatever effect, Mandela effect. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. If so many people believe it, it can actually come in real life.
So he's saying that people can manifest Slender Man, and that's what's been happening?
That's what's been happening. Yeah, so he's not saying that's what happens, but, why are these kids killing for this guy? The reason they stabbed, as you'll see, the reason they stabbed and planned to stab Peyton to death was not because they didn't like her. They were her best friends. They were all best friends. Mm-hmm. The reason they wanted to stab her to death is because that's the only way they can get into Slender Man's mansion. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's That's just
But
not.
why did they? What would make them think that they can possibly get into Slender Man's mansion? Like what?
Because he's telling them that they can. They're seeing him. That's why this guy is saying, is it real? It might not be real to adults, but the same reason that adults can't see imaginary friends or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He's saying that the Buddhists actually have been saying that things like this exist and have been saying it for thousands of years. If enough people believe it with so much conviction, it could actually manifest itself as a real entity. And the Buddhists believe that. Could Slender Man be manifesting himself? Could Laughing Jack? Because, I mean, let's be honest. If you see this photo here and you don't know what context it is, you don't know that I just told you it was photoshopped and told you the guy who created it. Even if you're an adult, a well-educated adult, you're going to look at it twice. You're not going to be like, oh, that's fake. You're going to make sure. You're going to look at it real close to make sure you know it's fake. Mm-hmm. You're not just going to immediately think it's fake. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have a little bit of doubt. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe not. That little bit of doubt could cause enough people to actually manifest this motherfucker. Isn't that crazy? Some crazy shit.
The power of manifestation. The secret.
The secret.com. I don't know if that's it or not. But isn't that crazy? I thought I'd find that. Now, there was a similar origin story, but I don't think the guy knew anything about this one. There's a German monster from about 200 years ago called Der Grossmann, which means the tall man. Now, Nicole, do you want to read the creepypasta story? It's real short. So you see and we're going through creepypasta right here. Do you see what they're doing? So they'll create the monster, this guy, put it on the competition. Then other forum posters, like horror enthusiasts, will create a backstory. We'll actually go and try to figure out the origins. So when you see it, and now he's got a whole background and photos and everything else, you're more likely to fucking believe it. I think it's pretty ingenious.
Yeah.
There's people that are like, we need to ban these fucking things. I'm like, what? That's stupid. Yeah, you can't fucking ban people writing shit on the internet. What the fuck's wrong with you? That is the internet, goddammit. What the fuck? But I mean, you shouldn't ban them, but you should be more aware of where these things are coming from if they're affecting your fucking kids, at least. Right. You know what I'm saying? Holy shit. If your kids are thinking that this shit's fucking real.
After waking up with a jolt, the girl laid in bed a few seconds longer. Reaching over to switch on her bedside lamp, she tried to remember exactly what had stolen her sweet slumber away. When she couldn't, the brunette swung her legs over the side of the bed and heaved herself up. Checking the time on her phone, she snorted when she saw that it was midnight, the witching hour. Knowing that sleep would only evade her, she left her bedroom for the kitchen, a good cup of coffee on her mind. As she passed by her front door, chills spread like liquid fire down her spine. It's only winter, she told herself, focusing again on the coffee plan. Measuring out scoops, water, and preparing her cup kept her occupied, but as the dark liquid boiled, she had nothing left to keep her mind from wandering off. The chill returned, and she couldn't help but glance behind her to the front door. It stood there innocently enough, just like always. The deadbolt was still in place, and she could see nothing amiss with it. Turning back to her coffee, she did her best to forget about the feeling. With her cup in hand, she started back towards her bedroom. As she walked by the front door, she decided that a quick glance out of the peephole would calm her restless mind. The chill worsened with each step she took towards the door and further away from the safety and warmth of her blankets. She pressed her empty hand against the cold metal door and took a deep breath before leading her eye toward the peephole. At first, she could see only the inky blackness, and somehow it seemed to swirl in itself. When she blinked in surprise, the void melted away. She wished it hadn't. In its place, there stood what she could only guess was once a man. The limbs were long and inhumanely awkward, with bulky joints branching off into several arms, not unlike branches of a tree. The creature was draped in a black suit, somehow making the thing more nightmarish to her. The icing on the proverbial cake, however, was what passed as the hellish thing's face. It was as though her mind blurred the ghastly visage, spare itself the further shock and horror. She shoved herself away from the door with the hand still pressed against it. The scalding mug of coffee fell, the liquid burning her bare legs as she fell backwards and tried to crawl away from the door. She knew somehow that her mind had been playing tricks on her. As she crab walked away from the door, she watched as the tendrils as black as the void she first saw snake around through the cracks. The girl was trapped between the instinct to flee and the gut feeling to not turn her back on the door. When the door jolted, the urge to flee overcame her and she slipped in the burning liquid as she tried to make it back into her room. She knew deep down that she was trapping herself into a corner, but she had to get away from the door. The girl was halfway down the hallway when she heard the previously locked door creak open. As she screamed and slipped into the wall, cracking her chin on it and stunning her. After that, there was only blackness. Nicole? A warm male voice snapped the woman out of her trance. As she turned around, she was met by one of her sister's doctors. She nodded, not sure if she should say anything or even if she could find her voice if she did have something to say. That morning, she had gotten an urgent phone call from the hospital saying that her sister Lindsay was there. Before they had even let her see her, the doctors had pulled her off the side and insisted that they talk about what might have happened. Phrases like self-inflicted and assault had been thrown around, and Nicole had felt her mind reel. She still hadn't fully understood what they had been saying until she saw Lindsay with her own eyes. Her little sister had a bandage wrapped around her head, covering both of her ears as well as her eyes. They said it was to keep her now deadened eyes from drying out and to try to keep infection out of the wounds Lindsay had made to her ears. The doctors had guessed that either she or someone else had jammed a pencil into them to keep her off balance or to deaden herself against something. There was a mix of first and second degree burns on her hands, legs, and feet from what was assumed to be the coffee her neighbors found slipped all over the entry to her apartment. As Nicole walked into her sister's hospital room for the first time, she thought she had spied the silhouette of a man in the window. That she knew was impossible. Her sister's room was on the third story of the hospital.
So that's it. It's a little longer than I thought it was, sorry. What do you guys think about that shit? Scary as tits, right? Nope. Yeah, me neither.
Well, I mean, I don't appreciate that the character's name was Nicole in this
Yeah,
one.
right.
I thought you were like had serially inserted the name.
Legit.
No, but you're the survivor. What are you talking? You're the final girl.
I'm just saying.
All right, let's wrap this shit the fuck. So there's Slendy.
Slendy.
So if you want to read this is the motivation behind why they did it.
They would become proxies of Slender Man, and they would then move up and live with Slender Man in his mansion.
They actually hatched the murder plot in December of 2013. They planned it for Morgan Geyser's sleepover or birthday party and discussed it for months using code words that they discussed in school and on the bus. So they're on the bus using code words about this because Slender Man's telling them to. Slender Man doesn't want this to get out.
Right.
So here's the checklist that they took with them. Supplies necessary. Pretty sure that's not how you spell necessary. Pepper spray. They're getting that from the dad. Map of forest. Camera. Map of forest. What the fuck?
Nope.
What the fuck? A camera. Spray bottle.
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake. Holy shit.
That would definitely be on my fucking list.
It would be on the opposite of my list.
Cheesecake.
Fucking love cheesecake.
This is the first time I'm reading this, honestly. Cheesecake.
What does it say in parentheses?
Musky. I don't know.
Hoodie.
Mask and hoodie.
Yeah.
The will to live. What the fuck? Weapons. Who puts weapons? Holy shit. Weapons?
Cheesecake is higher on the fucking list than weapons.
Cheesecake and weapons. Holy fuck. This seems like...
It's like a Golden Girls supply list.
Cheesecake and weapons. It sounds like a recording day at Dog Murder Mystery Studios.
I don't know. No cheesecake for me, thanks. I'm all set.
Are you never eating cheesecake in your life?
No, I wouldn't say that, but I, have to make sure I am
in a safe space.
correct.
All right, so here's some of the drawings and the mutilated Barbie doll that they've. You see her arms are sliced off. But look at her freaking arms. Look how skinny those fucking arms are. That's how Barbie looks.
Yeah.
I think, look at the waist in comparison. Look at the waist.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You guys, that sucks for you guys. But it sucks for us because like the Ken is like fucking ripped. Got big biceps.
Yeah, he also has no genitals.
Well, he's taking off steroids.
Smooth as a Ken doll.
I'll put these photos on talkmore.com. These are sketches. The one at the top.
Were they done by these girls or are these just other?
This is sketches done by them, and that's their Barbie doll. They mutilated it. They cut her arms off. The the sketch at the top says, "I want to die. I want to die. I want to die." And most of these are about Slender Man. I'm just saying, they're going to be pissed if they find out Slender Man lives in a studio apartment and not a fucking mansion. Shit. Wait, what do you mean we got to get jobs?
The rent is how much?
Holy
we have to do what?
All right. Anissa was diagnosed with persistent depressive disorder. I don't know why this word was different, but it's she was diagnosed with persistent depressive disorder, schizophia. It's like skits, OTYPY. Whatever that is, it made her vulnerable in accepting the belief. So she wasn't on board as much as Morgan. Morgan's the one that stabbed her, but she had the disorder. I think she was just a dumb 12-year-old, to be completely honest. But it's not like the last case that we did with Laughing Jack. I think that was serious issues. I don't know. The circuit court acknowledged that, quote, Weir is diagnosed with schizotypy disorder. It's delusional. It may have some impact with Morgan Geyser in that subordinate situation. So they're thinking that she was a subordinate. It almost reminds me of those two twins. You remember those two twins we talked about that ran across the road? That was one of my favorite cases. On August 1st, 2014, Morgan was found incompetent to proceed to trial. She was diagnosed with schizophrenia and oppositional defiant disorder. Is that just like, no, you can't tell me what to do type of shit?
A bit.
Okay. And she would need long-term treatment. She kept refusing medication and instead wanted to reside, quote, in the fictional world that she has operated in and have contact with the fictional characters that she had contact with in the past, end quote.
I'd like to live in the world that I've created in my own mind sometimes.
So let me show you where these guys are right now. All right, the last bit of news that came in. You see her right there. She's obviously older. One of the two girls in the Waukesha Slender Man Stabbing cases loses an appeal. Court says adult court was the right venue. So the case is still going on, and she was charged. Guys are now 18, charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide.
What was her sentence? So she was tried as an adult at 12?
No, she was at first incompetent to stand trial because she had mental illnesses. This is from ABC News. This is the most recent news, September 13th, 2021, so last month. Title says, Slender Man teen to be released. Survivor's family wishes she served a longer sentence. So that's Anissa. Anissa Weir is being released. Will be released to a mental health facility on Monday. Weir is now 19 years old. So,
well,
and she's not the one that
facility.
Well, she's not the one that stabbed.
No.
Peyton. Morgan stabbed her. So she's just now getting released. In 2017, Weir was sentenced up to 25 years in a mental institution. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I honestly didn't really dive too deep into their psychology. I'm going to be honest. I wanted to go more into the Slender Man route. So I'm not saying that they aren't, that have more complications than I'm suggesting. But in the last case, I did dive pretty deep into her mental condition. But they're all 12. This case and the last case are 12 years old. What the fuck's a 12-year-old know? You know what I'm saying? Not much. So, but it appears Morgan Geyser, the main attempted, the one that stabbed, is still at a hospital. This is from July 2nd. Where is Morgan Geyser, Slender Man convict in mental hospital as Anissa Weir released? So apparently she's still in a mental hospital. Peyton Luttner, she does a lot of interviews you can find online. She is obviously very grateful, but like I'm telling you, she wanted to live. That's what she said. Thought that was very powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It wasn't really a murder, but I mean, I don't know, man. If you're, we got a lot of mama bears and stuff listening to us. If your kid is 10, 12 years old, you know, I joke around, but man, they may be thinking this is real. It may be real to them. So at least you can know now, like, it's not. And these things start on these internet sites, somethingawful.com or whatever, these forums, they're contests. And then, I mean, this is just the horror enthusiast. This is what Edgar Allan Poe started 100-something years ago with this shit. He's the godfather of the horror niche, and then Lovecraft and all these people kind of, you know, got on board. I mean, all of that stuff is really creepy. Like I've read a bunch of Lovecraft, a bunch of Poe, and like their stuff is really creepy. Like I've stayed awake some nights reading that. So I'm not saying that these kids are just dumb or whatever, because I mean, even at 35, like I still get creeped out by that shit. So, but if you have a kid that is of the age and starts reading this stuff, just let them know, man, like that this is the horror niche. This is what it does. It's trying to scare you. And if they, obviously, I can't speak to this, but if they're adapting the characteristics, then that's a different issue, obviously. But I used to watch horror movies with my dad all the time, you know? Like we watched It when I was like 10 or 11. So I knew that for a long time. You know, I don't know. I think kids are just finding this stuff themselves and they're trying to make sense of it themselves. Yeah. I don't know. And they're not going to do the research. They're not going to read that book about where Slender Man came from. They're going to just...
No, they're going to see the pictures.
Yeah, they're going to see the pictures and make their own minds up. I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope you guys like that. If not, tell me. Talkmore.com. You know, whatever. Say hey to us. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I got. What do you guys think?
That's good.
All right. Well... Until next week, I'm here with Jen and Nicole, and this is Talk Murder Me podcast, talkmurder.com. You can watch these videos live every Sunday. That's Talk Murder Me. That's talkmurder.com/join. So until next time, good night, you lovely, lovely people, and happy Halloween.